Welcome to January's update on the capital works at Boston Lodge. You remember this rock? We were just working out where to put the pins last time, I think. So actually the whole rock has now been pinned, and you can see the netting has gone on as well. Really quite pleased with how that looks, but it means we can now get on with building this building right up against the rock. One of the things we're doing, and that's happening at the moment, is we're extending the wall there further along and pinning it back into the rock, again to give extra stability and security. But it's a great relief to see this building back underway. Here we are outside of 1 and 2 Boston Lodge, and it's brilliant to see the scaffolding down at last, and even better to have seen the new windows go in. Now, they're not quite finished, don't think that's the finished article, but at least they're all in. We've got to finish it. The reason we took the scaffold down was the sheer logistics of needing to dig in the ground here. So we had to take the scaffold down so we could do the last bit of archaeology right where I'm standing, which is about the old stables, and then dig the new trenches, which you can see beginning to happen behind me here, so that we can finish all the ductwork around the building. So the finishing work on 1 and 2 Boston Lodge, they'll have to do off a cherry picker lift in the spring. So it's not quite finished, but it's lovely to see the eyes of the building back in. This is upstairs in Cottage 1, and you can see a couple of rough coats of the lime render have gone on now. And that's happened most of the way through this cottage. We're not doing every single wall, but we are doing a lot of the walls. If we can pan round gently, you might be able to see the fireplace against the light. So we're not taking the fireplaces out, we're just cleaning them up and leaving them in place. We have had them swept, so then we know all the birds' nests have been removed now. But we'll soon see the next layer of lime render, and it'll start to look better. I don't know whether you can see, but the ceiling has been lime rendered as well. And what we've done here is there were a lot of the original laths here, and the old plaster has been removed. The old laths, however, have been left in place, and something called rib lath, which is a metal thing, has gone underneath it just to support the structure for the new lime render to go on top.
Welcome back to the small loco shed. Quite a lot's been going on since you were last here. Over Christmas, we had volunteers here who were very grateful for their efforts. They've been fabricating the supports for the flangeways in the floor. So that's where the floor is up to the level of the tops of the rails, and we've got steel supports to make a very nice, neat flangeway there for the, obviously for the railway wheels. Then the contractors have been in over the last few weeks. They've come back to site. They've installed all the drainage into the pre-existing connections in the floor. They've put all the shuttering round to prepare for concreting, to keep it in at the edges. And finally, they put in some a waterproof layer, the visqueen here, and steel reinforcing. So what you see now in the shed is all ready for the concrete to be poured. This was due to happen today actually, but with the freezing temperatures we've had, the people supplying the concrete pump to get the concrete from there, where the mixer will be, all the way to the back of the shed, are running a week behind just because of the freezing temperatures. But that's scheduled for next week, and we'll have some footage of that and hopefully a time lapse of that happening for you to see. Once the concrete has been poured, we'll shut the doors on the shed for a bit and let it cure, obviously. then we'll be back outside, which will be good in February, obviously. And we're into a bit more drainage outside, and we've got quite a lot of track to lay out here to connect the shed up to the rest of the yard track work. So if you fancy a bit of winter track laying, then, well, it's all here for you. Please get in touch.
So finally the timber frame is going in for the extension of this building, and I'm standing next to the electrician's store up on the first floor and next to the electrician's workshop underneath. So the flooring is just going in now, or the main bit of the floor, and then we'll be able to move on to actually putting the roof on in due course. So this bit, because it's an extension, is new and will be wrinkly tin. The pipes you can see here are for the ventilation and heating systems in this whole building. This is the roof of the iron foundry, where the asbestos contractors are safely removing the asbestos coated roofing sheets so that we can actually re-roof. So it's good to actually see the timber frame beginning to be exposed. And we're inside the new store, Ops 12, and what you can see on all the shelves is sorted items that may be useful from the brass foundry. And this is inside what used to be the paddling pool and is now the training and research centre. So we've got a floor, and the area at the end beyond the scaffold that you can see is where the little quarry Hunslet is going to be able to be parked. In between the two there'll be the glass doors. If we scan upwards, you can see they've done the cladding on the roof, which is looking really rather nice at the moment. The old engine shed, the roof between it and the weigh house is the bit that's going to be repaired. But right at the moment, the interpretation team from Creative Core are starting their installation work, both here and across the railway. You'll be able to find out more about that elsewhere. It's wonderful it's not actually pouring with rain today, which is what it seems to have done every other day for the last 2 weeks. So this is an opportunity, particularly while we've got full possession of the line, to actually pull the cables for fire and fibre all the way along the wall to take us to the old engine shed. That's at the same time as the hole that we're digging right next to the line. But that's all for this month. It's been a good month for progress. We're beginning to see things really happening now. See you next month.